Okay, hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Is it recording? Oh, it's not even on yet. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Just got back from like a crazy trip. My name is Leah Bahar. A lot of people like to call me Eve now. It's like my new persona online that I started recently. I basically did not grow up religious, wearing all this and the hair covering and all of that. I grew up in this community, like in Hillel, Miami, typical like traditional Miami family. And I was always a little bit more like connected than my family to Judaism, but not in like a crazy deep way. I just always like appreciated Jewish learning and really gravitated towards the rabbis in Hillel, and I loved asking questions and learning. But it wasn't until that I went to Israel for a gap year, and I really came to terms with like looking inwards and like really thinking like, what do I believe? Is this what I believe? And I just came to the terms that I really do believe that there is a God, and that this God wrote this book, the Torah. And therefore I decided from that point on, it wasn't all at once, but like slowly but surely I wanted to start taking on like more and more spiritual things, like work on my spiritual growth. So it wasn't an overnight thing, but slowly I was just like, okay, like up until that point, I haven't really focused on my spiritual growth at all. I was always doing things because that's what I was like used to doing at home, but I never really like tried to like, and like thought of my spirituality as something that I have to improve on. It was just like, it's fine, like where it is, it's good. I was even like in a school where most of the kids were even less religious than me, because my family, even though we were traditional, we still stayed home for Shabbat, like we didn't eat meat out and all that stuff. So I always felt like I was like super religious and like I'm fine, like I don't need to do anything. And when I came to Israel, I realized like, okay, like I have to actually like, just like I look at my education, like I want to get more learned in this subject, or I want to grow in my other skills, I want to become a better friend or a better daughter, I also want to become a better Jew. I want to improve my relationship with God. So from that point on, I started taking things on slowly but surely. And because I didn't grow up religious, most of my friends were not religious at the time, and I still have those friends today, either from the gap year program that I did in Bar Ilan, which was like not necessarily a religious program. I mean, it might seem like it, but it's like more like rebellious vibes, and a lot of fun. But yeah, I have so many friends that I have from there, still so many friends from my days at Hillel. And I just suddenly, once I started becoming religious, I was like the girl that you ask questions to. Rosa can tell you. My friends would always come to me, why do you wear a skirt? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And I now had like this responsibility to like start like teaching and like knowing what I'm saying, because like I don't want to be the one to give the wrong information. So after like getting into the habit of doing that a lot, I realized that there's like so many girls out there, including my sisters even, who are not necessarily observant on the outside, but still wanting to grow and learn so much, and like have this deep desire to want to like grow spiritually in whatever capacity that is for them. So that's where the podcast started. I was like, this is perfect. I want to make a podcast where we're going to teach to all women. It's only women. I mean, we have some male listeners. I don't know what they're doing there, but it's okay. We're teaching to all women from any background, from any education level. I want it to be accessible for everyone, relatable. I'm like obsessed with like trends and pop culture, and I was just like, let's just make it all into one thing, and anyone can listen. So it started as a podcast, and then because our generation has like no attention span, I decided to do more Instagram stuff as well on top of it, because some people prefer the more short content, which is more fun for me to do because I get to do my makeup and talk about Torah, and it's so much fun. But yeah, it was basically started from that. I was just like, there's this big gap where there's a bunch of people who want to learn, but we're not like the rabbis that are out there online are not necessarily catering to like this group. So that's where it started, and the rest is history. So what are we doing today? Why did I come here today? Obviously from the flyer. I mean, Rosa still asked me what it was, but we're talking about Rosh Hashanah, very, very important holiday that's coming up. A lot of people will refer to it as the Jewish New Year, which it's not wrong, it's the Jewish New Year. But I like to call it the head of the year, which is like the literal translation of the Hebrew, Rosh Hashanah. We're gonna get into like the head part maybe a little later. There's a lot of meaning there, like my own personal meaning that I've taken from there. And on this holiday, We've done it year and year again. We know exactly how it goes down. There's so many like topics and things that we can get into, so many mystical ideas, and the apple and the honey and the shofar, and we can probably do like a whole lesson on like each part of it, like the meal, the simanim, the shofar. But I wanted to focus, we don't have that much time, so I wanted to focus on one specific aspect of the day, which is the prayer aspect. I'm like on a prayer high right now, coming back from New York. We did like this big prayer event. So I'm in my prayer area. I'm like obsessed with prayer, and I think that the prayer of Rosh Hashanah is very, very unique and special. So whether you go to daven in a shul like this or not, I try my best, but sometimes it's hard. It's actually not even like necessary for us women to come and pray in a shul, and we can pray wherever we want. In the car, that's like my go-to because I'm always driving around. We can pray at home, we can pray in the bedroom, we can pray anywhere that we want. We don't have to be in a shul, and we can be just on ourselves alone. I think a lot of times like we associate prayer with men so much because they have like so much more obligations when it comes to prayer. They have to be with a group of people, and they have to go 3 times a day, and they have to sit through the whole davening, like they have to come on time. Most of them are not talking like we are in the women's section. So prayer is always associated with men, but if you look at the Torah and like look at our history, most of what we learn from prayer comes from like the great women of the Torah. Like we really are like the poster people of prayer. Like we kill it at prayer. If you look back at like all the women in the Torah, like their prayers were so powerful, so significant. But obviously we're not here to talk about like prayer in general as much as I would love to. I want to talk about the specific prayer that I think is needed on this day of Rosh Hashanah. And I always say this at the beginning of like our Siddur events is like, what is prayer at its simplest terms is just talking to God. That's really all it is. It sounds like super complicated and like spiritual, but it's really just like talking to God. And so on Rosh Hashanah, what are we talking to God about? And we are talking to God on this day about ourselves. That's pretty much like the gist of it. And if you think about it, it could be like, okay, that's like kind of self-centered, it's kind of conceited. It's self-centered. That's what the point of this day is, to look at yourself. Is to look at yourself and do like self-reflection. Who am I? What am I internally? What do I need to work on? What do I need to do better on? What can I improve on? What have I been doing that's really great that I want to keep on doing or do more of? Look at yourself internally, like make a list of everything and like really reflect on like who you are as a person, and try to make changes internally for the new year. In the secular New Year, there's a similar concept called like New Year resolutions. Like on New Year's Eve, everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this and this and that, and we have like resolutions, also similar goals. But the difference is that in the secular New Year, it's about external resolutions most of the time. Just from observing, that's like how I see it. It's more like, I'm gonna go to Pilates more, I'm gonna fit into my jeans again, or I'm gonna get a new car, I'm gonna buy this new house, I'm gonna date, like I don't know, it's all like external and like having to do with like outward. In Rosh Hashanah, it's the opposite, it's internal. I mean, not the opposite, it's just the other side, it's internal, looking inwards. I'm gonna work on my anger, I'm gonna work on my patience, on my kindness, on being more grateful, being less negative, being more respectful, having more self-control, all the things that people would not know about, like that don't see. That's why it's a self-centered day. It's like looking, and I don't mean self-centered in a negative way, it's like an important thing that we have to do, is look at ourselves and work on ourselves internally without anyone having to know about it. And just like you don't want anyone to know what you're working on because it's personal, we shouldn't be concerned with what other people are working on. It has nothing to do with us, nothing. You have to really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what am I? Who am I internally? And the best part of it being like about yourself and not to do with others is that it's just between you and God. So you can get as raw, as honest, as like graphic as you want, like not like your friends, like God is not telling anybody, it stays with him. So you can be as honest, as clear as you want, and it's just gonna stay between you and God. God is not going out and telling all your friends about it. So no one has to know what you're working on, and you, the same way, you should not know what other people are working on. The worst thing that we can do is compare ourselves to other people. Just like I mentioned, like in high school, that's what would stop my spiritual growth. I'd be like, oh, like, this was literally like play by play how it would happen if like me on Shabbat, my family would stay home, and at first it was fine, and then I was like getting older and there was parties, like really cool parties happening on Shabbat, and I would sit home on Shabbat knowing that like my friends are having a crazy party, and I'd be like, honestly, like it's fine if I turn on the light like to pick out an outfit for a synagogue because my friends are all at a party, like is God gonna care them turning on the light for a good reason? Like that's what my decision process was like comparing to everyone else. And even though like we might look similar externally, on the outside we all kind of drive similar cars and dress similar and have similar home decor, and we all shop at the same stores, and we all kind of like, we're a community. It's normal, there's nothing wrong with it, we all have great style. But we are not, even for a second, you should not think that you are the same internally. You have no idea what the person sitting next to you, even your best friend, what they're struggling with internally. You have no idea what's their triggers, what's their personality like behind closed doors. Even somebody, I'll go as far to say, as your own husband. You might know them better than most people in the world, probably than anyone in the world. But still, you don't know what he's doing on the day-to-day. Like, my husband goes to work at 7 in the morning, comes home. I have no idea what was so stressful for him, how angry he got at this person, or what's going on. We can only really fix ourselves. This was something that was really hard for me when I like first got married. Was like, or like even when you're dating, you're always like, oh, I have to like fix them to make them like perfect for me. The truth is like you have to make yourself perfect. I mean, obviously, try to be as perfect as possible. Work on yourself. Like, you can't expect to be treated in a certain way when you yourself are not like trying to perfect yourself and be the best person that you are. So always focusing on the other person and what they have to change. That's not the first step. The first step is like, let me focus on what I have to change. What can I do differently? What are the struggles that I need to work on? What are the character traits that I need to work on? And sorry, I'm gonna take a drink of this because I'm like very good. Sorry, my voice is like dying because of New York. So yeah, like I said, we all have different things, like, and the other reason why we shouldn't compare is because we're all on different levels and we're all struggling with different things. So like, let's say someone is like really struggling with like Lashon Hara, they can't stop talking bad about other people, and you're judging them for it, and you're saying, oh, like, I don't do that, I only do it like when I need to vent or whatever. Like, you don't know if you were given the same person's like personality, upbringing, lifestyle, financial situation, if you would be any different than them. You might be even worse. So to look at other people and say like, oh, look down on them, like that's why like judging is also like a terrible thing. It's really about like, everything starts with the individual. In Judaism, it's all about perfecting you as an individual, which then bleeds out into the family. So let's say I work on myself and perfecting myself individually, and everyone in my family is. That's where it starts, in the family. And then if my whole family is working on themselves, and then everyone in the community is working on themselves, now it's like the community is perfected, and then it goes out and out and out until the Jewish people. And then finally, we can be a light onto the nations like we're supposed to be, which clearly right now, as much as we want to believe that we are, we're not a light onto anyone. Everybody hates us right now. Like, the only thing they think about, Jews now, is like to how to get rid of us. They're not thinking like, they're not taking notes on how to like be. That's what God like blessed us with, is that we are supposed to be a nation that everyone's taking notes. Like, wow, like they have the blueprint, they have it all figured out. We're nowhere near that. Why? Because we are all so concerned with the other person, what we're doing. In Israel, this person's concerned that this one's not going to the army, that he is going to the army, that he voted for this person, that this one is gay and he hates gay. Like, it's just, everyone's talking about what other people are thinking and what other people are doing. If we all just stopped and started working on ourselves, that's the first step to like making complete. It just will trickle out until like the whole nation is good, and then we can be a light onto the nations. Is that my daughter? Hold on. So yeah, it's a yearly self-reflection. God blessed us with this day, Rosh Hashanah, which we have the opportunity to do this any day, but it makes sense that we would have like an annual review of ourselves, just go down the list and like really like figure all of our stuff out. So why are we doing this? Obviously it sounds nice and it makes sense like logically to do this, but like really, why are we doing this? So I'm gonna take I have two answers for this. One of them I've taken from Rabbi Sprung, and it really changed the way that I approach Rosh Hashanah every single year now because of this class that he gave like years ago. Like most of his classes, they just like kind of stick with you. He has a special talent in that way. But basically what Rabbi Sprung describes as this day is, why are you doing this? Why are you looking at yourself and seeing what can I improve on? I'm on my phone too much on this time. I talk too much Lashon Hara. I get angry too easily. I get negative so easily. All the things I need to work on. Why are we doing this? Because on this day, you are pitching yourself to God. You're saying, look at me. I am a good investment. I am working on myself. I'm writing all the things down that I need to change and I want to fix. I'm working on myself. So you should invest in me. if I'm not working on myself, there's no reason for you to invest in me. Why would you put in like tools and give me the blessings and give me the things that I need to succeed if I don't care about helping myself? You have to want to help yourself for God to help you. So you're telling God, I am a worthwhile investment. I have no control over what's going to happen this year. I don't know what is going to fly. I'm not in control of the most things that happen in my life, even though we feel like we do. You can't control if you get fired, can't control if Trump decides to deport you tomorrow or something. Like it's just, we have no control over anything. The only thing that we can control is ourselves and our reactions and our responses and our internal persona. That's what we have control of. So you're telling Hashem, I'm a good investment because I'm working on myself. So bless me with the tools that I need to make it easy for me to continue working on myself. I have this like analogy of like a house, like think, because I said like the word investment, it's kind of like a little confusing, but like if you think about it as a house, if you're a house, let's say like you're buying a house or whatever, and you're this very old broken house and all the walls are cracked and there's leaks everywhere and the plumbing is bad and there's cockroaches everywhere, but you're like, I don't care about the house, like I'm not fixing it, like it's too much of a headache, like there's too much going on, like no, I'm not fixing it. What's going to happen? The house is not going to improve. It's not going to go up in value. It's not, if anything, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. The mold is going to grow and the cracks are going to get worse. And then there's going to be leaks. And then maybe a hurricane's going to come and just blow the whole house out of the whatever. If you neglect something, it doesn't even stay the same. Not only does it not get better, it doesn't stay the same. It continues to get worse and worse. So why would God want to invest in something like that? Why would he want to like put any effort into that? If you don't care about the house, he's not going to necessarily care either. So if you take this old house and you start fixing it, you start painting up the walls and you're trying your best and like you don't have a whole team, you don't have the right contract or whatever, but you're painting the walls, you're doing the best you can, you're running back and forth from wherever you need to go to get flowers, to put it up. And it's not perfect, but Hashem sees you're trying to fix this house. Now it's a worthwhile investment. Now there's potential here. There's potential for this house to be the most beautiful house in the neighborhood. And now I'm going to keep giving to that house so that it can continue to be the best house it could possibly be. So that's the first reason why I think it's important for us on this day to do this self-reflection, is telling Hashem, I am this worthwhile investment. Please invest in me. Another reason, which it kind of connects to the first reason, is that we're constantly growing up, right? Like we don't see it. It's something that we always use the term growing up for kids because it's very easy to see. Like they change in 2 seconds. 1 second, they're like a little potato and then they're like walking around and talking to you and like telling you no. And they continue to grow and grow and grow. And like, we just don't see it in ourselves because we're so busy with other things and like the growth doesn't happen as fast, but we're also growing up and, it becomes like unclear, like what's changing and stuff. But our character traits are growing up with us. And if you don't fix the character traits that you have that are wrong with you, like the house, they're going to get worse. If you think about, this is like a very sad thing, but if you think about like older people in your life, if let's say they like were really stubborn growing up, like I'm just going to use the example of like a mom, like I'm not saying anybody's mom is like this, but let's say like you're older and your mom is when you were younger, you remember your mom was like very, very stubborn, or she was very, very like angry about like nonsense stuff or whatever, and then all of a sudden like it's like so much worse and it keeps getting worse with age because she never like thought to work on it. And like you look at some older people and it's like so sad because it's already too late. The stubbornness is like already like it's so through the roof that they're not going to listen to anything that you have to say. And like they say like you can't fix like an old,
you can't teach an old
yeah, exactly. Thank you. When you're older, it gets harder and harder to change things. When you're younger, you're more malleable, especially with kids. Like they're so easy, they absorb everything and they change so easily because they're not fully formed. They don't have like opinions and they don't think so highly of themselves and they're still like growing and open to growth. But we too have to be that way because it's just going to get harder and harder. We have to start now with fixing every single thing that we have and continue to work on these things before it's too late. It's like an escalator. A lot of people say like, if you're not walking up the escalator, you're just staying on it, like you're going down. So it makes sense that we have to do this every single year because every single year as we get older, it's getting harder. We have to like constantly make sure that the next year I'm not going to have these problems and I'll have like a better thing to work on that's nothing to do with the other ones. I already conquered that. You know, maybe in 2 years from now, you'll only conquer it. Maybe in 3 years, but at least they're getting worse. They're getting less and less instead of like worse and worse, sort of thing. So another thing that I like to talk about around this time of the year is we today are super, super concerned with our physical health. We wear seatbelts in the car, we listen to the law, whatever, but even more so, like we're obsessed with fitness and we're getting all this stuff to like fix ourselves externally. Food dyes, we're worried about seed oils now all of a sudden. We like know way too much and we're booking doctor's appointments for everything. And we'd often forget that like we're only one part physical and we're so concerned with our physical health. We should be. Hashem gave you a body, a physical body. You have to take care of it. It's like rude if you're gonna just neglect it and whatever. But like think about how much money and how much time you invest in your body, like skincare products or whatever it is. We care so much about the physical because we're very physical beings, but we often forget about the other side of it, which is like our spiritual health. And we often don't put like up the things that we need to do and protect ourselves and invest time and invest money even into protecting ourselves from the spiritual dangers of the world. We must protect that part. We might not see it, but we are half and half. Like we are the soul and we are physical. We have to protect ourselves from being in spiritually dangerous environments. I like to say, like if you have a friend group and every time you're with them, you know that you're going to start talking bad about somebody. That's a spiritually dangerous environment. It's like so dangerous. It's like walking straight into fire. We have to really, really like take this something seriously. It's something that we don't know, we don't see. And that's why like I'm so grateful for the Torah and for Hashem telling us, because we're such physical beings. We know exactly how to take care of ourselves physically. We have Botox, we have Pilates, we have doctors, we have all the information we need from TikTok, but we don't know anything when it comes to spirituality. And that's why God gave us this book, which is basically like a guide on spirituality, how to fix everything spiritually. Only Hashem is only spiritual. He's the mastermind behind this whole plan, behind everything about us, and he sees both sides. He could see the physical and he could see the spiritual. So it makes sense that only God would know how to tell you how to protect yourself from spiritual things. That's a lot of times why we don't understand everything in the Torah. Like, I don't understand why I'm wearing a wig. I have no clue. It literally makes no sense to me and it hurts my head. Like, I have no idea. I don't understand spirituality, not even close. I only know so much. I try to understand, I try to see things, and I try to like make up things for me. But the only reason why I put a wig on my head is because I know God knows what I'm like. I know God knows that this is protecting me spiritually in some way. I'm not saying that I'm like everyone is expected to do the same things or the same way, but I'm just saying in your own way, in your own stage of growth. And this is why it's so important not to compare yourself to other people. Because again, we all come from different backgrounds. Hashem is not going to judge us the same. As much as we think, oh, I don't do this as much as this person, or I wish I could do more. Hashem is not going to take two people and be like, oh, she wore skirts and she didn't. Completely different. It could actually be that you have no idea that the person who's going clubbing wearing a crop top is much more holy than you are. Or whatever. Like, we have no idea what that person is in their own stage. But we have to know what are the spiritual dangers in our life and how to fix them. And the ways that we know how to fix them is it's written, the whole blueprint. There's tons and tons of rules on how we can protect ourselves from the spiritual health, from our spiritual health. And again, we don't understand it because we don't understand the spiritual world, not even in the slightest. We have very bits and pieces of understanding it. But very minimal. That's why like I personally like I stay away from like Kabbalistic teachings, even though I think it's amazing to learn Kabbalah and stuff, but it's so far away from like my education in terms of understanding. Like I haven't even gotten close to the Kabbalah part. Like I'm still just trying to like learn about like Abraham, and like the Kabbalah is like, that's like for like when I'm like, no, like I haven't even like tackled the whole spiritual mystical side of it. It's true and it's there and it's real, but I'm not there yet personally. So I just like trying to like do what I can, follow the things and take notes from like the creator of the world who says this is how you have to protect yourself spiritually. So lastly, because I know this sounds really intimidating and can sound really scary and overwhelming, because there's endless things that each and every one of us can work on. There's like an infinite amount of things that we have to fix and we have to change in ourselves. So I'm not going to leave you guys in the dark. I'm going to leave you off with some tips, because this was something that I just learned recently that I've never done on a Rosh Hashanah, but I'm going to start this year hopefully, is get organized with what you need to fix. Again, don't look at other people's papers and what they're writing or what they're doing. Make yourself your own notes, and you can break it up into 3 categories. Basically in the Jewish spiritual world, there are like 3 areas of life where you can perfect yourself spiritually and grow spiritually. So get a list, get a notepad or whatever, something that you can bring with you to the shul when the shofar is blowing, or something that you could just keep at home and talk to God on your own time and your own place. So make 3 groups, like 3 boxes basically, with like little bullets. Maybe start with like 5 per box, per category. So the first one would be the ways that you can perfect the relationship between you and yourself. Again, going back to like the whole self-centered thing. So what we've been speaking about up until now. How to be more joyful, how to not be so negative, how to not be so angry, how to not let my ego get in the way, how to not be so lazy, not like things that are internal that like really has no effect on anyone else but yourself. And then the next stage, the next category, after you filled out all the things in yourself, like for me, let's say like it's going to be like, don't be on your phone as much, something like that. The next one is going to be between you and other people, you and your friends, you and your family, you and your teacher, anyone in your life. How can I perfect that area of my life? What am I slacking in? What am I lacking in that time, in that sense? And what am I doing well in? And what should I do less? And what should I do more? Do I need to be kinder to people? Do I need to treat people with more respect when I'm at the restaurant and I'm ordering and they got my order wrong? Do I have to like treat them nicer than I do? Or do I have to give more tzedakah? Am I not like helping the Jewish people enough? Am I don't know, some people struggle with stealing. Again, another thing that like you can't compare your journey to anyone else, because that's something that, you know, some people can't control and they have it like in their DNA that they just like have to steal. You can't judge them because you don't know if you had that, you would also. Visiting sick people, not being jealous of other people. I know that's like a big one, especially in the Jewish community, is like looking at what other people have and what you don't. Another thing that you can like perfect in the world of like between you and friends. Yeah, maybe not like, again, like the Lashon Hara thing is a big one, especially for me. It's like so embedded in our society now, just to like talk about people and like obsess over other people's lives. So another thing that can be an example of something that can go into that group. And then the last group is the area of your relationship between you and Hashem. Things that you can work on in that sense. Let's say like you've really been wanting to keep Shabbat and you keep putting it off. Every week you're saying I'm gonna light candles and you don't. Or every week you're saying I'm gonna put my phone away for like at least the Shabbat dinner and you don't. Like those are the things that you write down in that section. I want to work on my emunah more. When something happens like terribly and bad, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, like this sucks, life sucks. I'm gonna trust that like there's something greater, there's a better plan, this is all for a reason. Working on your prayer with God. I say this a lot in our prayer classes, is that like prayer, it feels very awkward and weird the first few times you do it. And like I always encourage people to like talk out loud, which is like even worse. Like it's so embarrassing, like if anyone sees you or whatever. But the more you do it, the more comfortable it gets. It's like a muscle. Like you go to the gym and the more you work out, the better you get. You take a break from the gym, all of a sudden like you're weak again and you're sore. Prayer is the same way. The more you do it, the better you get. So like if it feels weird the first few times, that means that you're doing it right. Keep doing it and like it'll get better and better. Working on that side of your relationship with Hashem is like the best thing you can do, because it's like really talking to a friend. And I always say it's like the best free therapy you can find. Yeah, so these 3 areas between man and other people, and man and Hashem, in this case women obviously. And every single person's list should look different. We should not have the same list, which makes sense because we don't have anywhere close to the same struggles. Even like your best friends, like you might think that like, oh, like I tell this person everything. Like no one can experience life on earth the way that you're experiencing it. I remember this feeling like when I first had my baby. I was like one of the first people in my friend group that had like a kid, and it was so hard for me to like explain to them like the difficulties and like the amazing parts of it, because like how can you explain to someone who hasn't like experienced and lived through it? It's like so many little details that happen throughout the day that's like impossible to explain. So it's the same for like every single struggle or every single amazing thing or every single positive, negative thing in your life. Like it's so hard to like understand what anyone's going through unless you yourself have experienced it. So yeah, that's definitely something that you need to stop doing, is like looking at what other people are doing. And then also like give yourself grace. Don't expect that, you know, I'm just going to start keeping Shabbat tomorrow from one day to the next or whatever. If you want to start keeping Shabbat, don't start by like not doing anything the first day. Like take it on very, very slowly. Okay, this Shabbat, I'm going to start with like just my phone, and TV is even okay. Like whatever it is for you, everyone's going to be different. Like when you take things on, it has to do with like your own personality. Like even when I was becoming religious, I remember like the clothing was like the worst thing you could ever tell me, because my family loves clothes and we're in the fashion world, and I was just like, there's no way I'm getting rid of like all these like amazing pieces in my closet. Like that was like the hardest thing. So like I would do like all the other things before that, and like literally left it to the last thing that I wanted to do. Like I was telling like my guy friends and stuff like, oh, I'm not gonna hug you, but like I'm wearing like shorts and like at the club, you know. So like everyone's growth is going to look different, even like the way that you do it. So like even for Lashon Hara, for me, I really have tried not to speak about other people, but I'm like so bad at it because our world is so immersed in it. And it's not an excuse, obviously, but like I know that for a fact, if I say like I'm not going to speak Lashon Hara, I'm going to be with my friend the next day, and like there's going to be something that I want to say or want to hear or whatever. So I always start with baby steps. I'm like, let me just not talk about, like, let's say I'm talking about one person specifically too much. That's the person that's off limits. I could talk about anyone else, but not her. Like, start people by people, or start, like, I'm only going to talk Lashon Hara 3 times a day instead of 5. Whatever it is, like, baby steps is always, like, the key to growth. That's why, like, I call this whole, like, world that I created, the garden, is, that was something that someone taught me, like, early on in my growth journey, was, like, when I wanted to become religious, I was just, like, okay, I'm leaving Bar Ilan, I'm going to Jerusalem, bye everybody, like I'm done, whatever. And she's like, what are you doing? Like chill, slow down. Like growth, it happens like you're growing a plant, like it's slow. You can't just like expect it to come like one day to the next and be like this beautiful flower. Like you have to like water it and nurture it, and it's gonna be slow, and maybe sometimes you're gonna have to take it all out and regrow it, and you have to go back a few steps to go up a few steps. It's always changing. So yeah, that's a very good thing to like have in mind when you're writing your list, is like to not like set unrealistic expectations for growth. Now I want to get into like, I mentioned in the beginning how we were going to talk about like the head of the year aspect, and like kind of like what I drew from this. I think it's called the head of the year because it's all about like using your head. It's not about like thinking about like the instant pleasures or like your physical pleasures. It's all about like your, like we often think like a soul. When you think of a soul, like, I don't know, like I always like imagine it like here. It's obviously not something you can see, but really if you think about it, it would make more sense that like the soul is like your mind, it's like your brain, your head, because that's like the intangible, non-physical parts of us, is like how we think and how we talk and how we act and our feelings, and like all these things that we don't see. We can't feel it, but we can feel it inside, and we can hear it maybe. Like let's say like you're a negative person, you're in a bad mood, no one might know, like externally you're not like saying it out loud, but you feel it. It's definitely still there, it's definitely still real. So this holiday is really talking about like, it's like the head, like focus on like get your head straight, get your facts straight, do an internal reflection. It's like, I don't know, I always visualize like our minds as like more of like the soul side, because it's really like the most unphysical part about us. Like even speech, it's not like you can only hear it, you don't see it, there's not like words coming out, but it's a very spiritual thing. God spoke the world to existence, and we cause a lot of damage with our words, we cause a lot of good things with our words. Women, we love to talk, like that's like something that Hashem blessed us with, but that's also why we are the ones that were known for prayer and why we're such like pros at it. We have like a special way with our speech that we can like connect and do things, and we're much more spiritual than men. Like if like it's not even like I'm just saying that because I'm a woman, it's like fact in the Torah. When we were created, the women were last, meaning we started with the most like simple things like light and darkness, and then like whatever, grass and plants and animals, and then right after the animals, it's like I think it's like the same day even, it's like the men. And people are always like thinking that's like kind of like derogatory or whatever, like oppressive to women, like, oh, we have to come after the man and we're only here to help the man and we have to be taken from the rib of the man. Like I don't know how familiar you guys are with the story of like Eve and Adam, but man was created, and then God took out from man his rib and created the woman. And what's something that's really cool about this is that Adam was obviously like a much more purified version of animals. We like to think that, like, hopefully most men are much more pure than animals. And then one step further is now women are now extracted from the man, the purified thing. Like he was taken from the ground, something that's very like animalistic, raw, earthy, and we're taken from like this more spiritual vessel and then created us. So we're like an even more like cleansed out version of like spirituality. We're one step closer to the holy day of Shabbat, the one step closer to Hashem, We have the ability to bring life into this world and emulate God in ways that a man could never do. Trust me. So yeah, we have to like really, sorry, I don't know how I got to this point, but yeah, we have to think with our heads internally, the soul side, the spiritual side. And if you remember on the table for Rosh Hashanah, we always say like you have to be like the head and not like the tail. The tail like represents like the physical, like the bottom. Like we don't want to think with our tails. We want to think with our heads, with our spiritual sides. And then the shofar, one of the big reasons why we hear the shofar, it's like this loud noise. It's like a wake up call. It's like, wake up, like your walls are breaking, the house is leaking, like wake up, like it's time to like get the paint, like go to Home Depot and start fixing this house. It's like it's falling apart. So the shofar is like it's like an alarm, like everybody, like it's time to get like to work, you know. And then the apples and the honey, we're eating that so that we can like now manifest like this sweet year, and that everything should come with sweetness. We just confessed like all of our worst nightmares, sins to Hashem. I just told him that I talked about this person and I lied to this person and I stole from this person. I'm letting it all out. I'm so honest. So we're like, Hashem, please, I know I just like told you like all the most like worst parts about me, but please be sweet to me. Like, please let this year be sweet and not bitter. Please like have mercy on me. If like you think about it like a parent, I always like to think of like Hashem's relationship to us like a parent, because it's like Hashem doesn't want to punish us. It's just sometimes like that's the only way that we learn, just like a kid. But like, let's say a kid now is like, in this example, like a kid wants to tell his parents, like, God forbid, like, Mom, I just crashed the car into the driveway or whatever. The kid is hoping like the mom is gonna just like be like upset for a little bit, but like there's not gonna be like such a severe punishment. Like she's not gonna take my phone away, God forbid, or whatever. So it's the same thing with Hashem, obviously on a more like intense level of please, like I know I just told you like all these things, but like please, like I'm like, you know me, I'm gonna work on myself, and like be sweet to me and how you decide like what my fate is for this year. And then the pomegranates, the last one that I want to get into is to remind us, like it says like there's like 613 seeds. I don't think that's true, but like whatever. It's just like the fact that there's a lot of seeds in it. You open a pomegranate and it's like the seeds are falling out everywhere, and it's like the biggest mess ever. It's to show you like there's so many opportunities here on how to fix yourself. There's like a whole like you open yourself up, there's seeds should be pouring out with the potential of like what you could be doing, what you could be fixing. So I always like to think about that. It's not just fruit, it's not just blessings. Like really like think about like what's happening here, like spiritual health and protecting your spiritual health, and not feeding it seed oils and all the other stuff that you wouldn't give to your physical body if it was like translated into that. And yeah, I just want to give everybody a blessing here to end off, that we should have a sweet year full of blessings, and Hashem should bless us all with every single tool that we need to be the best versions of ourselves. We shouldn't have any obstacles in the way or any hardships that are going to get in the way of us being the best possible versions of ourselves this year, and continue to grow and be better people for years and years to come. So thank you guys. We can do questions if you want, if we have time.
Anyone have questions?